The World Triathlon Podcast hits its 50th episode this week. Thanks to all of you who have listened, downloaded, and shared these interviews over the past 18 months from all around the world. If you want to let us know the kind of thing you'd like to hear more of, where you're listening from, or indeed to ask us anything World Triathlon related, you can now also email us at podcast@triathlon.org. Now, on to today's show. As we reach the 50 episode milestone on the World Triathlon Podcast, we get to hear from a man who took 2021 by storm, racking up an Olympic gold and silver in Tokyo, a first World Triathlon Series win, third place in the overall series, and most recently a storming month of Super League. It is, of course, Alex Yee. Alex, how are you and where are you?
I'm wonderful. Yeah, that was a cool intro. You don't really think about what's happened this year until you kind of finish the year and you look back and you're like, wow, that was a pretty cool year. And I'm in London at the moment. I'm at home. I've visited a few schools over the last few days, which has been really rewarding. And I got to go back to my infant school this morning. They done a little display, and just to see the kind of glimmer in the kids' eyes was really cool. And hopefully I can have a bit of an impact. Maybe they'll be a bit more quiet for their teacher today or something, which is cool.
Faster and
yeah, exactly. Well, we did there's something called the Daily Mile, which is an initiation to kind of keep kids active and running. And we did that mile together this morning, and then the kids had playtime straight away. And looked out of the office where all the teachers were, and you could just see the kids doing the same lap, running again. So they probably ended up running 2 miles, which is it's just super cool to see them inspired and enjoying exercise and that kind of side of things, which is it's lovely that I can kind of have that impact on my local community.
You got a pretty good reception from them then, did you? How old? What's infant mean? What kind of age are we talking?
Infant is between 4 years old to kind of 7 years. So kind of real start of education in the UK. And I guess that's the time when kids are not afraid to ask you the hard questions, like how many times you fall off your bike and how much money do you make? And those are the questions which I really enjoy, because they challenge you and you have to find a way of dealing with them and making sure you involve. The school has a load of values which they wanted me to involve in the assembly, so trying to figure those in. And I really enjoyed it. They keep you on your toes, definitely, and they all have a bit of my medal in their fingernails, I think. So
it will be clawing at it.
Yeah, exactly. It's our medal as much as it is mine.
Yeah, to be able to have the sort of immediate context of someone who was at their school and has these medals, but then also things like that, the Daily Mile, that immediately make the kids think about those sort of distances, right? And then they can relate to the sort of distances people are doing in triathlons or in the Olympic Games and things. That it's all those little elements, isn't it, to sort of building up in their heads what is actually possible for them to do, not just what they see on a telly.
Yeah, definitely. Because we finished doing the mile, and one of the teachers said, "Oh, that's how far Alex swims in his races," and they were like, "Wow, no way, that's amazing." And then when I did 40k of biking and 10k of running, they were like, oh, "That's all right." So it was really funny to see that they thought that the swimming was the hardest discipline. And I was like, "Yeah, me too." I agree with you.
Yeah,
but, it was really amusing, and to see the kids kind of brains whirring, and it's just thrilling to be able to have that impact.
And it's great to have you on for our half century, and there's a lot to talk about, and great for our listeners to be able to hear from you. It seems like you don't necessarily do a huge amount of podcasts. You've been doing obviously school.
Oh yeah. No, it's cool. Like it's an honor to be the 50th as well.
Great. I mean,
thank you for having me.
If you Google Alex Yee podcast, don't know if you've ever done that, but there is an American Alex Yee who does a podcast called Racy Friendships, which I immediately was like, hang on, is this some sort of like triathlon offshoot I've not heard about, where our Alex Yee is actually sort of doing some kind of sitcom with various pals in London?
Yeah, bit secret.
Yeah.
I'm afraid that's not quite what I'm into, but maybe in the future I'll have a podcast. But people might find me a bit boring. I feel like I need a bit more about me before I start doing stuff like that. But yeah, I've really enjoyed listening to them. So it's a pleasure to be on.
Brilliant. Well, I'd like to start with the comings and goings in Tokyo, and it feels in some ways a long time ago, and in some ways, kind of like yesterday as well. From not being certain of a place on the team at all to 2 Olympic medals, and and then everything from, coming so close in Edmonton and the Super League, that is an incredible turnaround. Did the nature of that kind of yin and yang, as it were, I suppose, like the uncertainty to just absolute certainty of your kind of ability, all the more, did that sort of play in a bit to each one of those start lines you were hitting and you were feeling good, and like a little bit of, was there a touch of invincibility, because that would be probably a bit too much for your Olympic debut, but were there factors like that were all kind of clicking into place that gave you an extra confidence?
I think for me this year, I stood on the start line every time with a purpose. And I think that's been the amazing thing about it this year, is that I was able to stand in Yokohama, and I knew that was an opportunity to race the best I could. And then on the start line between me and Alistair in Leeds, it was very much about racing my own race and making sure I could get the best out of myself. And yeah, that led on to kind of a bit of belief in myself, I think. It's always, well, when you're racing kind of your idols, and I was extremely lucky to have a quick rise in 2019. But there's a difference between thinking you can do it and actually doing it. And that first race in Leeds, where I was able to put together, in my opinion, my best swim, bike and run performance, I think made me believe that, oh, right, I'm actually good enough, and I belong in at the front of a race, and I can pull turns, and I can mix it up, and I can do those things. And I think that belief in yourself is something which is super important to stand on the start line and believe. And for me, I stood on the start line with a purpose at the first 2 races of the year, but then on the Olympic start line, I actually stood on there with a purpose, but belief as well in what I was doing, and the complete clarity that I was able to prepare the best I could in those months between Leeds and the Olympic Games. And yeah, I came away with a silver medal. And for me, I sat down with my coach after, and we agreed that I feel like I got everything out of my body. And I'm really proud of that.
What was different about your mindset or the preparation then heading into Yokohama that perhaps hadn't happened before, that was giving you that purpose?
I think for me, with everything I do, everything has to have a purpose. I think that's what motivates me. That's what gets me out of bed, is understanding why I'm doing something and that it's leading to me getting better. I think for me, I'm really internally driven, and when you're in the winter months, there are not things which are directly measurable. In racing, you can't compare yourself to people, you don't know where you're at. But for me, there's things in training which I can directly compare myself to, and whether that's really small things like how many strokes I'm doing per length, or my stroke rate, or a time I do for 50 meters. Those things for me are the things which really motivate me, and I think kind of transfer into where I'm in competition. And for me, I think I was able in races to just come back to the present and the race, because for me, I'd always let my mind wander and worry about what other people were doing. But I found this year I've been able to kind of bring myself back to me and worry about kind of what I'm doing, and make sure that my stroke's going well in the water, or I know where I'm at and I'm showing the best line, and I'm aware of who's around me. And those things I don't think I did so well in the previous years, and I've been able to kind of dial into that mindset, and that's allowed me to kind of get to the run in the best possible position, and yeah, be competitive throughout races, I think.
And it wasn't just, I suppose, getting to April, not certain of your place on the start list necessarily, but it was that year delay as well, obviously, to the whole games, that perhaps made the results you've had that little bit more likely by virtue of what you were able to concentrate on during that time off. Are there specific like windows of things you were working on during that year, during that kind of downtime from actual racing, that you can attribute in some way to what's happened this year?
Yeah, for me in 2020, I think I'd happily admit that Alistair would probably have gone ahead of me if there was 2 slots in the Olympics, and I have complete I'm at peace with that. That would have been absolutely fine. And I'm extremely lucky that, although the pandemic was an awful time, I was able to have that extra year of delay, but also opportunity to train a little bit more and be consistent. And for me, the lockdown gave me the clarity, I think, most of all, that I was doing triathlon because I love triathlon and I love the lifestyle, and I really just enjoy swimming, cycling and running. And I moved down with Olivia Mathias, my girlfriend, to her parents' house, and we found a way to swim, we found a way to cycle, we found a way to run, even though we could only do one thing outside each day. And that kind of hustle, I just loved and I really enjoyed. And I think for me, that was one thing that changed in me, is that I just had that complete clarity that I love the lifestyle, and I love what I'm doing, and I really want to. I really wanted to be back at competition, but at the same time, I was just really, really enjoying just what I was doing at the time.
I suppose, yeah, you take the racing, the competition element away, and yet what you're wanting to do every day is still figure out how you can get that swimming, how you can get that bike and running.
Exactly.
And
Yeah.
it makes it a sort of, ticks all the boxes of why you're doing it in the first place, I guess.
For me, I've never really had an opportunity to, well, apart from my crash in 2017, I've never really had that opportunity to really ask myself about it, because you just go through, you find yourself going through the motions so quickly, and competition, winter goes past so quickly, and competition comes up so quickly that you don't take a step back and be like, I don't have to swim this morning, I don't have to cycle this morning, but I want to, and it's what I enjoy, and I want to find a way to do it, and I want to get better. And for me, I think it's led me to be quite internally driven, and I want to now for the future find what my body's capable of doing and what I can do as a person in myself. And if that brings more success, then amazing. But also, I just want to find my limits as a human being, and be able to put on a show, and for people to enjoy it and be inspired and take up the sport. So I think, for me, that was real nice that I was able to have that opportunity to just, spend time with my girlfriend and train with her and work hard with her, but then also, have that complete clarity in my mind.
Yeah. To be able to do that with someone, with her, it must have been a big help as well then, yeah.
Oh, it's massive, because as much as I said that there, you're human. There are times when you find it hard to wake up, you find it hard to get out of the door. So to have a companion, a partner in crime, I think it's been so helpful for me. And she's, I should really cut my medals in half and give, I should cut them in 100 and give them to 100 people, I think. So, but I'm really, really lucky.
So as 2021 began, and Yokohama was the first race there, and like you said, Johnny's place was sealed. There was an awful lot going on in the background of, discussions in various teams as well. Certainly, like GB wasn't the only one as far as where those final places were going to go to. Were you just looking at it, right? You're going to do what you can do, and in a sense, let fate take its course, or were you? That's got to be me. I've got to be the second GB male.
For me, whether I qualified for the Olympics or not, I was always going to do, irrespective of what was going to happen. My focus of the start of the year was Leeds and Yokohama, because I was actually outside the top 30 as well for the Olympic ranking. And for those who don't know, you have to be in the top 3. You have to have 3 of your nation's athletes in the top 30 to qualify 3 athletes for your gender for the Olympics. So Tom and I were both kind of on a points chase at the start of that year. But at the same time, I just wanted to race my 2 best races in those first 2 races. And that was almost a chunk of my year was, okay, we're focusing on Yokohama and Leeds. These are 2 biggest races in the season. And then you almost treat that as a mini season. Then whatever happens after that will happen. And luckily those 2 went really well. And then all of a sudden you're like, oh my goodness, I've just won Leeds, and I've got this opportunity now. What we doing now? And so that was kind of my focus. And I have a huge amount of respect for Tom, who did so many races and worked so hard for us. And I think, we've been incredibly lucky in Great Britain. We've had so many people who work behind the scenes and work so hard for us to kind of get us to that point. And I think it shows on race day that it's not only our performance which is leading to that, but it's the support behind it and the little things which you don't realize, which we're incredibly lucky to have.
And I suppose in the immediate fallout of Leeds, you very quickly realised that it was you. Like, was there that? What point was the formal conversation had that you would get in that place? Did it take?
To his credit, Alistair actually came up to me after the race and just said, "Congratulations, mate! You were amazing today." He was a real gent about it. He was, explained that he thinks he had an ankle injury and he had to have some surgery, unfortunately. And it was unfortunate the way he raced that final race, because he's obviously left an incredible legacy in our sport. But he was incredibly nice to me, and we kind of I went straight actually into a heat camp the next day, which is quite funny to think about now, to prepare for the Olympics.
Wow.
So
Was that back
So yeah, it was
in
back
Loughborough?
in Loughborough. So
Yes.
yeah, we were in Leeds and then we moved down south to Loughborough and kind of got cracking straight away. Which is crazy to think about now when you look back at it. But yeah, it was non-stop, but it was really, really enjoyable few weeks of my life.
So is Loughborough the new Leeds? Is that how it's going now?
Don't get me in trouble, mate. No, I'm just playing. I absolutely love Loughborough, and I'm incredibly lucky to be working with Adam Elliott down there, and he's been an incredible help to me. And yeah, though we've only had a short time together, I feel like we get each other, and he was, yes, as much his medal as it is mine, that the hard work he's put into me and invested in me. And I'm incredibly lucky to have coaches of the past, Liam O'Neill, who was incredibly, well, had taught me so many good things that I feel like I've brought down to Loughborough, and I feel like I learned so much from the excellence that I had in Leeds and the amazing athletes I was able to train with. That I feel like I have opportunity to kind of bring the things that I really enjoyed there and the good bits about the culture to Loughborough. And hopefully, I don't want to make it my center. It's a collective of athletes, but I really want to be able to put in things which I feel are beneficial and will make training more fun and enjoyable, but also we all get the best out of each other. And I feel like everyone's really bought in, and it's really exciting where the centre could go.
So just prior to, well, I suppose your base then at the start of 2021 was Loughborough, was it? Like that's where you
Yeah.
were living and that's where you were training, and who else was training there or is training there at the moment? And is that where you literally left off to Tokyo from, and it was like all right, good luck.
Yeah, so during lockdown I was living with my girlfriend Olivia for about 6 months, and then Loughborough was actually the first, because of the kind of fantastic swimmers they have in British swimming based in Loughborough, the likes of Adam Peaty, etc. They had first pool access, and we were able, because of the risk assessment, to actually get a lane ourselves. And so that was kind of a no-brainer for me. Obviously, you need to work on my swim, so I stayed in Loughborough and I got to know Adam, and there was kind of a natural transition there where I was incredibly lucky to be welcomed in, and everyone was really welcome in. And now, yeah, I kind of have stayed ever since. And yeah, I train with the likes of Sophie Caldwell, and Jodie Simpson was there until a couple of months ago, and Olivia Mathias, my girlfriend. And then on the male side, I train with Harry Lalou, who's also my housemate, and Ben Dykstra as well, who's, all these guys are incredible talents and have so much to give in the sport, and they've given me so much of their time. And it's going to be really exciting to see where they will go. And there's so many more I can name who are I'm sure you all know very soon. So I'm just loving it, mate. It's been just really, really enjoyable.
Yeah, your battles with Ben go back quite a long way as well, don't they?
Yeah, totally. No, we have a really good relationship. We had many a battle as a junior and a youth, and even younger than that. But yeah, we're still best friends, and we'll still train together, and we're still kind of on those training rides. We'll get each other through it, and we'll work together. And it goes for the same for any other guy who's in the Loughborough training squad, that we'll all work for each other, or we've all kind of bought into it, and we're all really enjoying it. So yeah, it's really nice.
And Adam Peaty in a sort of build up to an Olympics. How was that working? Like sharing a pool with him, and sort of was there an element of being quite pleased that you're not a dedicated swimmer yourself for judging?
Yeah, so I swam at the same time as Adam on 2 days of the week. And the thing I remember most is just Mel Marshall, who's his coach. She's just absolutely crazy, and she's just really animated, and she's always kind of getting everyone going and really excited. And I think she brought a really good energy to the pool, and she clearly made it exciting for the British swimmers. But I also found it quite amusing watching myself. So I think they were all they all had a really successful Olympics as swimmers. So it's been incredible to see. And obviously Adam's done amazing. Now he's on Strictly Come Dancing, which means you've officially made it. So yeah, it's been really cool to kind of see him, and he's been obviously a massive inspiration to everyone in Loughborough. But I also think it's quite amusing when you go back to Loughborough, because there's so much excellence. You kind of go back with a gold and silver medal, and they're like, you're just one of us now. So which I really like, and it keeps you humble and keeps you kind of hustling and working hard. So yeah.
And how was the whirlwind pre-Olympics in terms of, so you went to Miyazaki, there was the training camp there. Did the team around you manage to make it? Was there an effort to try and keep everything as sort of normal, race build up normal as possible? Because there is a huge amount of pressure on everyone around the team to get the results, right? Perhaps more than any other race you've experienced. I don't know. So yeah, how was that?
Yeah, I think for me, the thing I noticed most about the Olympics is how experienced everyone was. Everyone seemed to have had prior experience of with regard to the support staff and actually the athletes themselves, kind of experience around those high pressure scenarios. And um, the thing I noticed was just how supportive people were, but not intrusive in a way. So it wasn't like that kind of, it didn't feel over the top. It felt really natural. And um, we'd almost had this build up all together in Loughborough, where I'd seen almost everyone, that it didn't feel like really artificial. So many people coming in at one point just for the holding camp. It felt like I'd worked with all these people I have worked with all these people for the last 2-3 years without realizing, which is quite crazy that you kind of, there's almost that preparation leading in before you even know it. So it was, in a way, we were really lucky. We had the Miyazaki training camp. I think it was us, the Norwegians, and the Japanese, who were really lucky to actually be able to go outside and do our training outside and those things in Japan. Whereas I think a lot of people had to cancel their holding camps because of the COVID pandemic, and had to just go into the Olympic village, having trained at home and just not experience the conditions. But so we were incredibly lucky in that sense. But it was actually the rainy season in Miyazaki, because it's quite significantly south of Japan. So we were getting days which were 35, 36 degrees, 90% humidity, but then we're also getting days which were the worst thunderstorms I've ever seen in my life, verging on typhoons, which was unnerving when you're 34 stories high in a building.
Yeah, but as it turned out, quite good preparation for the women.
Exactly. Yeah, that's true. We weren't laughing because the girls did a race prep scenario where they woke up at 3 a.m. like we did for our race, and got up and did their swim at 6:30, and it was really bad weather, awful conditions. They're like, why are we doing this? We're never going to have race conditions like this. And then it turned out they did. So it was amusing in a way to look back on that and think, oh, you actually were doing the right thing.
Yeah, it's wild to think that, Basmala from Egypt was saying, yeah, she had, they barely get storms, let alone like those sort of typhoon conditions. So when she woke up that morning, it sort of blew her away a little bit, not, bad intended. So yeah, there's a lot to be said for having a little taste of everything in the build up to such a big.
No, totally. Yeah. That was one thing which a lot of people have fed back on, I think, from other nations, is that Team GB brought out these dry robes, which are extremely big jackets, / changing room type kind of towels, which are meant to keep you warm in extreme cold conditions, or like after you've done open water swim or something like that. And a lot of other nations looked at us and said, why have you brought them out? That's extremely silly. It's a waste of money, and God knows how much extra for that to actually be brought across in terms of money. But then on race day, they were using them, and all of the Team GB girls had them on. And I think that was a big statement to the rest of the nations that we're incredibly lucky to have that support, and all bases have been covered in that terms of thought process. And yeah, it was really cool to see that. And I think it was a bit of a moment, or for us to be like, yeah, we're really lucky in that sense.
Were you, just to fast forward to the women's race, because that was obviously the day after the men's, but were you, were you up for that? Like, were you able to watch it in your rooms, or how did that play out? Like, quite nice to have got your race done and then be able to watch the entertainment, was it?
Yeah. So, well, normally with World Triathlon format, we're always second, so we never really get to enjoy the women's race. But yeah, I was up. I don't think I slept that night, really, honestly. But
no,
I was up. I remember because I had a really nice view of the kind of swim course, because we'd stayed in a hotel instead of staying in the Olympic Village, just for ease of logistics, and we were really lucky in that sense as well. So I had an incredible view of the swim. So I remember watching the swim and then flicking back to to the coverage on Triathlon Live and then back up. And then one of my friends, Sam, who was at the Olympics as a reserve athlete for the relay, he also had a view of the bike course. So I'd run across to his room and have a look at the bike course, and we see them whiz past. And then, yeah, it was just really cool to be able to kind of whiz across. And Johnny was there as well, and Gordon Benson, who was also out there as a reserve. Yeah, we were all just getting really animated, and obviously we had two girls do incredibly well. Vicky also do incredibly well. So yeah, it was just really, really inspiring to watch them, and they kind of set precedents for us. And going into the relay, that we were kind of really, really in a good position. And yeah, it's just amazing to see Georgia and Jess and their relationship, and Georgia go through such a tough time prior to the Olympics, and have probably the hardest build up of any athlete, and then achieve what she did. It was incredibly inspiring. I felt incredibly proud for her, and she should be proud of herself.
How privy were you to the ins and outs of her situation in the build up then? Well, I mean, you're obviously focused on what's going on with you, but as far as the relay goes, obviously there were big consequences as well to her fitness, as well as being a friend that you want to see out there doing her stuff.
Yeah, I probably shouldn't comment too much on her ins and outs. Obviously, that's kind of her story to talk about. But as a friend, I just wanted to kind of be there for her and make sure she was all right. She was still enjoying what she was doing. She was still motivated. I know there's I have one of my best friends, Jordan Hall. His girlfriend was actually moved out of her accommodation and moved in really near to Georgia to help her through her kind of times and her training and kind of rehab and build up back to the games. And she had that really small team, which kind of did an incredible job to get her back to where she is now. And it's incredible to see her going through Super League, and Jess obviously doing so well as well. And obviously all the British girls, it's been super inspiring. And yeah, I think we're incredibly lucky to be led by an incredible group of females here in Great Britain and British triathlon. So yeah, leading by example for us.
And in Miyazaki then, just back to there, was there much, the Norwegians, were they staying in the same hotel? Was it kind of a little bit private and secrecy? Was there a bit of hanging out, or did you just try and avoid each other?
We definitely, I wouldn't say we were avoiding each other, but they were staying in the hotel just 400 meters down the road from us. So we were ever so slightly apart. I think they were doing a little bit, or had a collaboration with the Japanese Federation, but we'd see them every now and then. And whenever I'd see them, I think I'd just see Blumenfeld with a grit teeth and just absolutely sprinting. And I was just like, the guy's all in, and respect to him. He really was. And yeah, it was. I do have vivid memories of him running past me, absolutely gritted teeth, just all out. And yeah, it was
same
cool
look
to see.
Yeah, produced at the finish in Edmonton there. And so for you personally, were you in perhaps like some sort of a sweet spot? Obviously, you're going into a race with a goal and with a purpose, but you didn't have quite the same level of expectation, perhaps from the outside, perhaps from yourself, as some of the other people on your start list. Did you feel like you could go in a little bit looser and just do your stuff?
Yeah, for me, I just wanted to prepare the best I could, and honestly, just remember it as my first Olympics. And I spoke to so many people before the race for advice and stuff like that, and get their opinion on things. And the thing that everyone came back to is that it's your first Olympics, and for people who've passed, they've forgot to think about and enjoy the fact that they're at their first ever Olympic Games. It's an achievement in itself, and it's been a lifelong goal of mine to get there. So the main thing for me was just, I prepared the best I can. I'm saying on the start of complete clarity of that, but also look around, enjoy your surroundings, enjoy what you're doing. Make sure you remember everything you're doing. And for me, I can look back at 56 minutes and 33 seconds and probably be like, if you free frame it, I can tell you exactly what was going through my head. And I don't have many races like that, but for the Olympics, I could tell you exactly through the bike, through the swim, through the whole of the relay as well, all my experiences. And I could probably close my eyes and cycle that bike course because I just run it through my head a million times, just because it wasn't an obsession, but it was just an absolute passion. And yeah, the memories of it, yeah, just so fun.
You visualize each element, did you, over and over again then before? Because it was a long time since you raced the test event.
I did, yeah,
Yeah.
not very well. Yeah, I
But
actually
did
got
that in itself give you plenty to work on then, and yeah, extra memory to build through?
yeah, well, I actually got dropped on the bike on the Tokyo test event because we were measuring our core temperature, and my core temperature went up to I think 41 degrees, which is like kind of ridiculous. And I think I just hit a point where I just exploded internally, and so a massive goal for me was to try and avoid that happening throughout the race and manage kind of intensity and the stress I was putting through my body. So for me, visualizing the course and making sure I was efficient through everything throughout, specifically the bike, was super important, and positioning myself in a place where I could be aggressive and push towards the front, but also not have to push to those extreme high wattages. And there's one dead turn which probably looks really insignificant on the telly, but you go from pretty much 0k an hour at one point, and you go down a highway road under a bridge, and you go up to about 70 kilometers an hour, and you do that in about 30 seconds, which is just the amount of stress that you have to go through to kind of get up to that speed is yeah, quite significant. During a triathlon we have to run 10k after, and I think those the thought processes of that and having to manage those things throughout a triathlon was something which we never kind of looked into before, and actually breaking it down and seeing kind of what power I was putting through before I got dropped on the bike and in in the test event, and then trying to replicate that in training. So I was ready for those explosions if they did happen. And luckily they didn't, because I was able to swim okay and be in the in the second pack quite early. But yeah, I think for me that kind of visualization really helps me kind of flow through things and not kind of mess up and have to do those little 1%ers which make a difference when it comes down to how close our final was. And I'm sure there were moments which weren't perfect, and no race is perfect over 2 hours. Well, I'm yet to experience that. So I think, yeah, for me, that was kind of my thought process, I guess.
Yeah, yeah. But and each section, as it progressed, you must have kept feeling as well, right? This is my kind of race here. Like the swim was very condensed, and
Yeah.
I don't know at the halfway point when you came out and back in, like whereabouts you were, but certainly after the swim, there was only kind of a minute between first and last. So that it must be a moment of, right, this is on. Let's get into this. And then I guess the bike inevitably slowed a little bit as the pack got like pretty huge towards on that last lap. So there were certain things there's a hell of a lot of way to go, but that were setting up nicely for that run, right?
Yeah, I definitely say I was lucky, but also I guess you make your own luck in a way. Um, for the way the kind of race scenario went, and there definitely was an excitement, I guess, and for me when things were coming together. But then also I was just trying to focus on the next 30 seconds ahead of me, because you're in a bike pack, so many things can go wrong, especially in the size we were and the course we were doing. It was extremely technical, and people are nervous. It's an Olympic Games. There's a lot on the line. It's a really high pressure environment. So for me, I just had to focus on what I was doing at that time and focus on that next 30 seconds, make sure I got around that dead turn, make sure I was positioned well, make sure I was out of trouble. And yeah, for me, I just tried to not let myself think about kind of get too far ahead of myself, just kind of focus on the there and now and stay present. And I think that was kind of my mindset throughout it. And yeah, moving on to the run, well, those first few strides, I wouldn't say I felt particularly good. I almost found myself building into the run in a way. And after the first lap, having so many people in the mix, it was pretty crazy, because I thought I was running pretty quick. And yeah, it was definitely attritional towards the end, but I just tried to focus on the next 100 strides I was doing, and then the next 100 strides after that. And then that kind of got me through it and got me kind of to get that silver medal.
Yeah, I mean, from the moment you caught Andreas Salzberg, right, who'd kind of gone off on the final stage of the bike, and then, I mean, it was you spearheading that run for quite a lot of the way. How is that position for you, like being the chased and in that sort of situation? And I mean, it must have been kind of mentally exhausting as well, right? I suppose there were plenty of kind of hairpins that you could assess exactly what was going on around you as well.
Yeah, I think for me as well, is this year's kind of been the first time where I've been able to race people at the front of races, and I still don't think I found my style of racing. You see, Blumenfeld's clearly got quite a distinctive style where he goes from kind of 2K to a K out, and he just absolutely goes for it, and that's it. And for me, I'm not sure whether I'd actually suit a style where I go for the best 10K I physically can run, or whether I wait till the end. And I tried that in Super League, and it seemed to work pretty well, but also almost didn't work very well. So, so you never know with these things. So I still feel like I'm trying to find my style and find my identity within triathlon and my style of racing.
Mm.
And also, I guess I don't want to be too predictable in that sense as well. That I'm very one dimensional and I can just win races from one aspect. But yeah, I think for me in that Olympic Games, I was just so excited to be at the front of the Olympic Games, and just like, as much as I was working extremely hard and I was extremely tired, I was so excited to just be there and um,
And to be
at
with
the front of
someone
a
like
race.
Christian, right, and Hayden
Yeah,
alongside you as well, and that must have all played into it as well a little bit.
it was just it was just like like a like a dream, really. I don't know. That sounds really cliche, but you just never imagine yourself being in that position until you're kind of there, and you just like every now and then you kind of come out of it, and you're almost like, wow, it's really happening. Like, am I really in the last three battling for the medals of the Olympics? And um, I think for me, you don't want to give yourself those thoughts, but at the same time, I was just having so much fun and just enjoying myself so much that I was, yeah, that you almost, yeah, I don't know. I think for me, I probably could have paced the run better, definitely, and stuff like that. But would I change it? Probably not, because it was how I ran it and how I was feeling in the moment. And
Mm.
um, yeah, it was just super enjoyable moment. And yeah, I look back on it fondly because I feel like I got everything out of my body, but I also enjoyed myself, and I had one of my best races of my life, or if not the best race of my life, and came away with an Olympic medal. And for me, uh, in a way, sorry to keep waffling, but in a way,
Careful.
I I'm I'm totally at peace that I didn't win the gold. I feel like in terms of the preparation I had, I did everything I could. I prepared the best I could in the heat with the time frame I had, and I feel like I had the best equipment, the best support, everything I had like that. But I don't feel like the complete article yet. I don't feel like the complete triathlete I want to be. And if I ever am fortunate enough to be in a situation like that again, I want to be in a position like that where I feel like I've done everything I physically can to get to that point, and I can cross that finish line and be like, wow, I feel like I've achieved this, and I've worked so hard for this. And um, yeah, and I feel like I had the best swim, bike, and run I physically could have had, and I'm in the best physical shape of my life. And
Mm.
um, I know everyone's not fortunate enough to have those opportunities, but yeah, that's kind of, I don't know, my dream scenario is to just kind of have, yeah, I don't know, I'm probably waffling a little bit, but that's kind of how I feel about it.
No, I mean that unpredictability, I suppose, could be your secret weapon, right? And you're still, you've got years of triathlon ahead of you, so finding your run style, or if you even feel you need to, but that adaptability could be your secret weapon. And then maybe sometimes some situations it won't work as well as others. And um, Christians, obviously, that for that games, for that individual race, that was something he'd been, as he said several times, he'd been working for 10 years to that point. That was his destiny. That was his target for so long. And he made it happen. And then kind of conversely for you and Hayden, you were finding yourselves, I guess, I don't know, did you discuss it with Hayden at all? Like that you were sort of, in that medal contention, there were three of you all going for the gold. Nobody knew which way it was going to go at the, I guess, 500-meter mark or whatever. And so exciting that it's three, between you and the women, there was like, I think a 13th place was the previous top Olympic positioning, plenty of debuts and so on. So, it was all beautifully set up. I guess after all of that, did you and Hayden discuss it at all after, like that, how you had felt and just that kind of raw excitement of the moment?
Yeah, I mean, I think for us too, yeah, like I said, we were probably just living our dream in a way. And yeah, when we finished, we had an embrace and we were just like, couldn't really believe what was happening. And yeah, I think we were both kind of out of it because I remember both of us just kind of leaning on each other and we were almost falling over a little bit. Because we, in a way, though we Bloomfield had moved away from us, we were all kind of pretty much full gas, moving kind of all about a similar distance away from each other. Just trying to get to the finish line. Just because I guess no place is certain until the end, especially in those conditions. But yeah, it was a pretty special moment. I remember almost falling over actually when we took the left turn into to start running down the hill into the finish. My leg just kind of gave up on me. I was like, "Don't give up on me now." But yeah, it was me and Hayden have had many a battle over the years, and we rarely spend much more than 100 meters away from each other throughout races. So it's really special to kind of share that with him. And yeah, hopefully we'll have many more battles to come. I think that's something which I cherish, is the opportunity to kind of get the best out of myself. And I feel like he's somebody who really challenges me to do that. And I hope I challenge him as well.
Yeah. So for the relay, getting together, doing the lineup, having to wait for 3 legs for your moment must have been a form of torture, was it?
Yeah, gosh. Yeah, so straight after the individual, we had a press conference and stuff like that. And I remember we all had the medals on the table, and I remember looking distinctly at Blumenfeld's, and you, you can probably, if you look at pictures, you can really tell they've done a good job of making the gold extra shiny. And the gold is just, when you put them all next to each other, just, even when I was at the primary school, no kids touch my no kids were touching my silver, they were all touching the gold. And I remember just thinking, man,
That is.
we could do this, and I really want to do this. And that afternoon I had a little bit of media to do when all the British public woke up, and we did a few interviews and stuff. But then straight after that, I was back in the pool that day and made sure I was doing everything I could to be in a position to kind of do my team proud and prepare the best I could. And yeah, the first 3 legs of our race couldn't have gone any better, honestly. They all kind of had probably, well, in my opinion, 3 of the best relay legs that have ever been seen in triathlon. And yeah, that did make me incredibly nervous. And I don't know if I've ever felt the pressure that I felt at that point. I actually had not a panic attack, but I had like a bit of like a point where I couldn't really breathe, to one of the physiotherapists called Emma Deacon, and I was like, I feel like I'm just breathing really strong. My heart's beating so fast. And she's like, it's a good thing your heart's beating. It means you're alive and stuff like that. I was like, yeah, that's true. That's true. And even those little words made such a big difference to me, and it just calmed me down. And got in that swim, and I swam well. And I anticipated Vince catching me on the bike. And when he came past me, I didn't anticipate him coming by that quick, but I was able to get on that wheel and make sure I stayed there and attack into transition and yeah, run away. And the feeling that, in a way, I didn't allow myself after the Tokyo test event and how close the finish was, to lose that sprint finish to the French in the final. I didn't allow myself kind of that luxury to kind of celebrate down the finish line. I just wanted to get there and make sure I did everything I could. After the 3 guys had just done an incredible job, I just wanted to finish it off and do them proud and do the nation proud. And that, yeah, and that feeling when you cross the finish line, you're like, Olympic champions, first ever time the event has happened. I think, yeah, it was just incredible. And the reception back home, the amount of people that just enjoyed watching. And I think one of the most Googled things was like how to start triathlon and stuff like that. You're like, what? This is crazy. Like, people are actually enjoying what we're doing, and you just start something as a hobby and for the enjoyment of it. And then people are like, yeah, buying in and staying up late at night. And the amount of people are saying, oh yeah, I'm going to go for a run tomorrow morning, or I stayed up this late and I'm going to go to work in 3 hours and stuff like that. You're like, it's just amazing, that the power of sport, and the fact that we could, yeah, after just such a rubbish time with COVID and stuff like that, to be able to, yeah, for people to enjoy sport again, and for us to put a smile on their face.
Yeah, and I suppose, yeah, that final transition was the, from a sort of observer point of view, well, you managing to hang on to Vince's back wheel, and then I guess kind of tucking in behind him for that last lap was presumably exactly where you wanted to be. And he was
Yeah.
testing and asking plenty of questions. And but at the same time, he must have been thinking about needing to keep some in reserve for the run. So
Mm.
there was a good cat and mouse going on there.
Yeah, definitely. I think for me, the way he attacked past, how he did, he kind of set a precedent that I was probably never going to come to the front at that point because of not trust issues, but I just didn't want. I was kind of aware of what had happened to Morgan behind, and obviously him being dropped off by Vince. And it was an incredible move that he did. Actually, watching it back, but I couldn't afford myself the luxury to kind of go to the front and take the corners at the front because it was unpredictable what he could do, and I wanted to make sure I could see what was going on, and instead of it just happening out of nowhere like it did, obviously going into transition and me almost losing kind of 2 free bike legs and having to make that up on somebody who's going incredibly quick. It was pretty tough.
And to be able to do that, so I mean, that final transition was unbelievably tense, but equally, Vincent's didn't necessarily go in perfectly to plan. So, interesting to say you had the test event kind of photo finish situation playing over in your head a bit as well. But those first strides, knowing that the shoes were on and you were out and you had a bit of thing, and that was the 2K. Yeah.
Yeah. That first lap, I was all in. Like everything I had went into that first lap after kind of assessing the situation, seeing the big screen, seeing I had a little bit of a gap. I was like, I'm all in. And if I lose this now, then the person who beats me is a better person than me. And I got to that K point and I had about 10 seconds or something like that. And I was like, just got to keep going now and try and match what I did before. And I probably didn't even get close to matching it, but I did everything I could. And yeah, just made sure I brought it home for the guys. And I obviously we had the opportunity to see them. They gave me a massive cheer and gave me some good information as I came past, and that kept me believing and kept me motivated. And yeah, it gives you that purpose again that you're doing this for yourself, you're doing this for your country, you're doing it for those guys as well. And yeah, it's just very cool.
Yeah. Well, I mean, yeah, it was just a brilliant moment for the sport, wasn't it? And to think how now other team, not that they didn't, everyone was all in for that one, but it's only going to get bigger and more of a focus for the future games, isn't it? Like that team element and wanting to deliver that moment for your teammates.
Yeah, I think for us as well, as much as we wanted to do well and achieve what we achieved and race how we raced, I think we wanted to make sure that the mixed relay was seen as a really viable event for the Olympics. And I think from the reception back home, it almost was received better than the individual races were. And people love the fact it's mixed genders and it's short, it's sharp, it's straightforward. Everyone knows what's happening. 3-4 people do swim, bike, run, one after the other, and it's girl, boy. Like it just made sense to people, and people really bought in, and people staying up late to watch it back at home in the UK and in Europe, and people enjoyed it and got behind us. And yeah, it was amazing. It was just really, really good moment for triathlon, I think.
Yeah. It was just after the Rio Olympics. You had your first junior world champs, right? That was your first grand final in Cozumel as well. Yeah. And that was just after Rio, and another moment with Ali and Johnny and, the situation at the tail end of that race. So I just wanted to, do you remember much about, so much has happened the last couple of years, but do you remember things about that first world champs and the brouhaha around the Brownlee situation there? And did that all kind of, how fresh are those kind of moments and those sort of first big international events in your memory?
Yeah, I think Cozumel really set standard for me, because Cozumel in Mexico was probably the most luxurious, amazing place I'd ever been to in my life. And then I thought, every world championship is going to be like this. It's going to be amazing. Going to get to swim with fishes, and it's going to be crystal clear waters and really nice and amazing. And we got to go to Florida before, and I just remember it was such fond memories. And I think I came 5th that day, and I had a pretty good race. But I think the thing I remembered was just the camaraderie between the British athletes, whether you were a junior or whether you're a senior. Everyone was hanging out together. We all were one big team, whether that was recently crowned Olympic champion or Vicky Holland, who just got her Olympic medal as well for the first time. It was just amazing to be part of that team, and everyone worked together and got the best out of each other. And yeah, what a moment for Alan and John. I mean, obviously Johnny's not a massive fan of talking about it and stuff, but for us, we were running from all kinds of corners to watch what was going on. I was obviously training with Tom at the time, and I was massively cheering for him, but then also aware that Alistair and Johnny were doing incredibly well. And yeah, it was just bizarre to see Johnny at one point over there and then running across, and then just seeing those two kind of in arms, probably love, all the phrases just kind of coming down that finish line. And I think it was just a really iconic moment for triathlon. To kind of see it in the flesh was uh, exciting, but also I felt bad watching it as well, just because of how bad the situation Johnny was in. But I think also incredibly proud moment for both of them. It should be that they showed kind of like how we are in triathlon, and what kind of people we are. I feel like a lot of people would do that for other people in the sport, and I think that was incredible to show. And the Super League series recently has shown that as much as we race for a nation and stuff, we're all friends within the sport, and we all will help each other, and there's no egos here. We're all here to race the best we can and get the most out of our bodies, and challenge each other, but also be challenged as well. And I think it's incredible to be part of such a cool sport like that. And yeah, they kind of set that precedence there.
Yeah, and it's a gutsiness that you obviously showed a year later. Cagliari, that terrible accident. Many people whose sort of first knowledge of Alex, having been perhaps Tokyo, wouldn't necessarily know that. Yeah, you suffered a horrendous accident on the bike in the World Triathlon Cup in Cagliari 2017, right? And that took you out for a year. I just want to reflect a bit on that. How perhaps was that a formative part of you now in terms of mental toughness, in terms of what you must have gone through immediately after that race? From like it being one of your first World Cups. Was it your first World Cup?
It was my first ever World Cup. Yeah,
first ever World Cup. And then
yeah.
So you hit a bollard, you punctured lungs, broken ribs,
vertebrae, shoulder, hit my head. Yeah, all the wrong things. But in a way, I was incredibly lucky. Pardon me, for it to happen where it did happen. It happened right in transition, and I don't know how, but amazingly, my physiotherapist and kind of medical staff were literally about 10 meters away from where it happened, and she was able to get to me straight away. And if you watch the video, you can see how within kind of 20 seconds of it happening, actually just by my side, making sure I'm okay, checking all my vitals and stuff like that. So although it was an awful, awful accident, I was incredibly lucky to have kind of her by my side straight away, and she, in a way, probably had a bit of an impact on me being able to train again, because at one point they were saying in the hospital, yeah, we don't think you'll be able to run again because of the damage done to your vertebrae and transverse processes. And that's obviously an upsetting thing to hear. And when I'm on the phone to my mom or my coach, bit jogged up, I think, from all the anesthetics they're giving me, saying, yeah, I'll be back for Rotterdam World Championships in 3 weeks or whatever it was. But
oh god,
yeah,
so you were in hospital there for a long time, were you, in Italy?
Yeah, I was there for 6 weeks, actually. I was in hospital for 4 weeks, and I had to stay an extra 2 weeks to make sure my lung had fully healed up, just because of the compression in the aeroplane and just getting home. There was potentially a plan like get a ferry and have to lie down in a car and then drive all the way through France, and some crazy plans. But yeah, it made sense for me to stay, and the hospital staff were incredibly helpful and nice to me. I think a few of them learned a bit of English as I was there, which was cool. And I learned a few phrases in Italian, and which I've probably forgotten now. But yeah, it was an awful time, but also I was incredibly lucky with everything that happened following that accident. It was really unfortunate, and it changed my perspective of kind of why I was doing this, and made me kind of look at it, rather than it being a bad thing, it's an opportunity for me to have a comeback. And to, when I'm training all the time, I have an opportunity now to work on something which I wouldn't have been able to work on. I worked on a lot of S&C stuff, and made sure that when I came back, I was able to tolerate the load, which I now do, and I couldn't do before because I may have got an overuse injury or something like that. So I've been incredibly lucky in that sense, that though it halted my progress for my last junior world championships and my first ever senior World Cup, where I miraculously made the front of the race and all that good stuff. Yeah, just it gave me that opportunity to kind of reset and kind of come back stronger. And I was able to kind of come back and race a really good 10K. And that year and just get back on the bike. And I went back to Cagliari next year, and I was able to race there. And though it didn't go the best, it was an opportunity for me to just fight those demons and yeah, just show that I've beaten this injury, that I'm back. I'm still a triathlete, and I'm not going to let something like that stop me.
Were there some demons? Because it's a rapid descent on that course, and for that to be the first race back on the same course, that takes some brass as well.
Yeah, no, I definitely would say I would say I was cautious, but I definitely would say I was definitely not as aggressive as I'd normally be on a bike. And I think as much as I always say, people are like, "Are you scared to get back on the bike?" I was like, "No, I've spent so long off my bike that I just want to get back on it now. It's been long enough." But on that race, you obviously go through the same corners and flow through the same course, and yeah, there was definitely hesitation in my mind and stuff like that. But I felt like once I'd gone through it, I felt like I came out the other side with a lot of kind of freedom and peace in my mind that I'd done that. So yeah, it was nice, and it was just nice to come back, and the people there have a lot of energy and they're really nice and obviously really supportive. And I got to go see the hospital staff and thank them, and it was just a nice kind of circle of everything that had happened. So yeah, it was a nice closure.
Not a great way to do it, but an interesting way to prove to yourself what you can do, what you can go through, what you can cope with in a sport that demands that you deal with and cope with a lot.
Yeah, totally. I think triathlon specifically is filled with lots of different challenges and lots of different obstacles, and that was a big one in my life. And for me to kind of pass that has given me a bit of clarity that whatever comes of me, I'm gonna tackle it head on. I'm gonna go all in, and I've got amazing team behind me and amazing people supporting me. So yeah, I'm really lucky, and I'm kind of all in. I think that's it. I'm all in for the roller coaster, whatever happens.
Well, yeah, as proven most recently at the end of the Super League tour. I mean, yeah, that at the end of that kind of a month to produce that kind of a finish against someone like Martin, quite special.
No, yeah, it was cool. I actually, going on to the last run, they have something called a short shoot in the Super League. I'm sure a lot of you know, but I actually didn't know he had the short shoot going into that last run, because I was kind of on that first race. A lot of them had caught a wave in the sea swim and were miles ahead of Johnny and I and Kenji, and the likes of 4 or 5 of them were away. So I didn't actually know he had the short shoot until we kind of got into that last race and I'm in the mix, and then all of a sudden Martin's about 20 meters ahead. And yeah, it made it really exciting in a way, because Hayden actually went all into catch, and then I started moving my way up, and I could hear Johnny behind me breathing down my neck, and I was like, "Oh, it's gonna be exciting," because obviously us three are fighting for the final podium and, of the Super League standings. And yeah, that kind of the last 200 meters were so technical and stuff. For me, I was actually just more thinking about taking the right apex through the corners, making sure I was flowing through the lines as fast as I could, rather than worrying too much about what was going on until about 30 meters to go, and then trying to get around Martin. And I think I did it probably by a hair's width. So it was pretty cool, and I think it was a nice way to finish the Super League, and made it look really exciting, and made triathlon showed triathlon as exciting again. I think, well, it's always been exciting, but
yeah, no, it definitely, like, it's a very tight course. It's relentless, the action, and you're back in it. I mean, yeah, it was a spectacle, and to be able to produce that sort of a finish at the end of a month. I mean, how did it all stack up? It was not far off the back of Edmonton as well. Those kind of ups and downs. I mean, you've got to be hoping you can just ride the adrenaline to an extent, have you? Because if you stop and think about it too much, then the next month might just be a bit like, oh God, like here we go again.
Yeah. So I think for Edmonton and London as well, I think I just put a lot of pressure on myself. I felt like maybe that was the first time I felt like there was a bit of expectation on my shoulders and things like that. I obviously was wearing the number 1 for the first time, leading into the kind of grand final to win the World Championships, and also in London. It's my hometown, and a lot of people I felt like were there to watch, obviously the Brits, but also me as a London boy. So I felt like I just had to put on a show for everyone and make everyone proud, and everything to be a dream. And I guess that's not the way sport works. And I think I just had to kind of take a step back from that. And I think I did after London, was just be like, right, why do I do this? What I do it because I enjoy it. I want to obviously race well, but I want to race the best I can, rather than worrying about too much what other people think about of me and kind of the public perception, because I guess you don't I guess in a way that they're really proud of what I achieved at the Olympics, and um, they just want to see me do well rather than me thinking, okay, they want me to win all the time, all this kind of stuff. So I kind of took a step back from there and I really enjoyed what I was doing, just soaked it up and went through my processes and stayed present throughout all the races, and it just seemed to progress from there. I felt like I made less mistakes and felt better in myself as I raced on and on and on. And yeah, the last two races were really exciting finishes, and were probably two of the races I enjoyed most this year.
Yeah. And, and a great prize to get at the end of it as well. Part of you just, there must have been a bit of you that just thought, Porsche.
For me, I just wanted, yeah, obviously it's yeah, we were extremely lucky in triathlon. Well, that series has a little bit of money behind it. It's kind of, yeah, we're incredibly lucky in that sense, and obviously it's equal between male and female as well, which I think is an incredibly important thing. And it's been obviously a hot topic in cycling and whatnot. But for me personally, I just wanted to end the season with complete clarity that I'd done everything I could, and to end the season on a high note and enjoy myself as much as possible. And for me, that sprint finish, what a perfect way to end the year. And I had thoughts of potentially racing maybe on to Abu Dhabi and stuff like that and further, but kind of finishing that way, yeah, left me completely at peace that this was a nice ending to the year, and a time for me to reflect and kind of actually take in what's kind of happening over the last year, because it's been a bit of a blur and something I could never have imagined.
Yeah, what a nice way actually, to round off after the grand finals, because it was obviously a very strong kind of collective spirit there, as well as there always is.
Yeah, totally.
Grand finals, and that I got to ask about the sort of Beverly Hills Mansion thing going on there. Just a quick run through of what was that all about? It was like a sort of triathlon version of Entourage. There's you and Matt Hauser playing pool in the corner. I don't know, non-Stanford sort of reclining on a chaise longue in the.
Yeah, so we were really lucky that we had 3 days extra time to spend in Malibu and Los Angeles and that kind of surrounding area, and we don't normally get that opportunity with such a long triathlon season. You're almost kind of race one race and you're on to the next one and whatnot. So we kind of took the opportunity with open arms, and John Boyd, who's Jess's other half, went on Airbnb, went to Beverly Hills and just put highest first, I think. So we ended up on Sunset Plaza Drive, but split between 10 of us, it was a bit more affordable. But yeah, it's something you imagine doing with all of you. It's something you imagine doing as a kid for a dream, but we actually were able to do it. And yeah, it was a really enjoyable, I think it was 48 hours you got to spend there, but just to kind of just enjoy each other's company. And we probably won't see a lot of each other for 6 months now because you go back to winter training, you do the less glamorous stuff. And so yeah, it was a really nice way to kind of sign off the year for me personally. I'm sure a lot of people will go on to the next World Championship Series race. But yeah, it was really cool. I enjoyed it, and it's nice to see how the other half live. And yeah.
Well, if ever an end of season deserved something like that, this was it. Who was better at pool, you or Matt Hauser?
Well, I beat Matt, but I think Matt was actually better than me. I think it was
ever.
Yeah.
All right, now, so we've got to close this off, unfortunately, but I just want to. We did a little shout out on Instagram for a few questions. So I've got to run through these. From Ashley Power, favorite moment in 2021, and I'd like a sport and a non-sport version, please.
Oh, like my favorite sporting moment outside of triathlon and stuff. I think either Emma Raducanu winning the US Open. I stayed up too late to watch that before the Munich Super League. Probably shouldn't be saying this, but yeah, I stayed up really late.
Incredible.
Non-sporting moment. God, I'm a bit of a loser. I don't think I have one. I can't think.
Well, I mean, maybe living it up for 48 hours in
Malibu
sounds pretty good. No, but
I mean, one of the things for me, one of the things which I really enjoyed recently was the fact that the London Marathon was on at full capacity. I think the fact that we're able to do mass participation races again after such a long time away, and to see so many people, I got to stand at the finish line and see them all come over that last 100 meters, to see the amount of passion and joy that people could get from a sport that we love was really, really touching, I think. So I think for me, that was one of my big moments of the year, was kind of having that finally back. And yeah, it was really nice.
Very cool. I think the original question from Ashley was actually
Have I ruined it?
your own personal favorite moment, trying to
Oh,
sort of
no.
rank your achievements, which, you know, it's up to you with
Well, I think Leeds was, for me, my biggest surprise ever. And to do it in front of my parents and family and so many people who were so close to me, I think you can see me pointing at every single person in the crowd, because I kind of knew almost everyone there, which was amazing. So I think for me to do that in front of those people, I think was incredibly special and set up a really nice year.
set the ball rolling. Yeah. All right, Lily Hall 05. What's been the most rewarding thing about coming home to Brockley? I don't know if that means, like, you know, there's no golden post box this year or something. Maybe is it like a lifetime supply from your favorite kebab shop, or I'm not really sure.
So they actually created a mural right by the entrance of Brockley, which was incredibly touching, from kind of for my area, to show support for me and the community, to get behind me and to be proud of me. I think that was incredibly special. Even the man in the pizza shop across the road notices me now, and he gave me free pizza yesterday. So
Brilliant.
things like that are just touching, because it just feels like your community is behind you. And I'm extremely proud of where I'm from, and being a Brockley boy, being from Lewisham, it's just incredible that they reciprocate that.
Yeah, anyone who's not seen that, it's well worth a Google. Alex Yee, Brockley, Neural, have a look. It's either Scramsey or SC Ramsey 895 Kona one day.
Wow.
It seems like a leap after.
I've not thought that far ahead, actually. One thing I would say is watching the London Marathon made me really want to do the London Marathon at one point in my life. So I'd love to do that at some point when I'm when it's appropriate.
Yeah,
but Kona's would be cool, but I don't know if I'd do it in a competitive capacity. I'll
have to see. Yeah. Ian Bormett, are you scared of the Norwegians? Now that could have many layers to it, I guess.
I've never seen anyone shout at somebody. Well, we've never raced Alistair in the kind of era where people obviously talked about him being a real leader of the pack and not controlling people, but being able to help people, to help him and drive packs and stuff like that, which he did incredibly well. But for me, I've never seen somebody as animated as Christian in a race, which is incredible to see. And I wouldn't say I'm scared of him, but it's also, it's when you're riding and somebody's shouting, you're like, does make your head turn. But he's also I think he's got a lot of respect for me, and I have a lot of respect for him. So it's cool to have, I guess, an ally, but also not an ally in the race like that.
No, for sure. Now, Dream. So this is Sunny Leishman. Dream training camp. Where and with who?
Oh, so when we were in Malibu, Seth took me and Matt down one of the descents, which went down from kind of 700 meters high at the top of kind of Thousand Oaks, straight down to the Malibu beach, and they'd been completely resurfaced. The corners were so smooth, and halfway down, about 20 Lamborghinis came past us just in the convoy, and you're like, am I in a dream? What's going on? You descend down to £1 million houses, and that was amazing. And I'd love to be able to go there and ride properly and explore that with everyone from Super League, everyone in triathlon, everyone from Super League, everyone from the Leeds Training Centre, everyone from Loughborough. One day when I have enough money,
Posse up.
probably not be, and then I'll go broke. It'll be worth it.
Excellent. Pre-race ritual, asks Latchy Henwood.
I just eat rice before a race. That's one thing I do, and then I always make sure I put this necklace I'm wearing in my side pocket and make sure it's there with me at all times. So, because that's my luck charm now. So, make sure that's with me all the time.
Where did that come from?
My girlfriend actually gave it to me, Libby. So it's got a lion on it, Team GB lion. So yeah, so it's with me at all times, part of a lion.
Very cool. Last couple then. Who got you into triathlon? Who?
Probably my dad was the one that got me to triathlon. He did a bit of triathlon prior to me kind of getting involved with the sport. I remember going to some domestic races and watching him race and being inspired and seeing him fly by and thinking, oh, I want to give that a go. And I guess like most people, you want to be like your parents, you want to be like your dad. So yeah, I gave that a go. I gave it a go and was able to go to the first ever junior triathlon club session. And I think the challenge for me was the thing which kept me coming back was the fact that there were so many things to triathlon that challenged me and I wasn't good at. And I think that excited me and kept me coming back and showing up and yeah, kind of getting to here.
Yeah. And then finally, then when the chips are down in a race and you've got to give yourself a bit of a talking to, is there something that you always kind of bring up, like a little mantra or anything?
So for me, whether things are going good or bad, I always come back to the saying, what's next? I think for me, that's something which brings me back to the present and make sure I stay on what I'm the task at hand and making sure, because your mind can wander so easily in the race and you can kind of get to the end and forget what you're doing. And especially in the mixed relay and Super League and those super short races where you're having to make split second decisions, you need to be making sure you're focusing on the kind of next 30 seconds and how you can do that the best you can. And for me, I always come back to kind of what's next, even though something's gone wrong, what's next for me what's next, what's the best thing I can be doing in this 30 seconds and to kind of get me to the next 30 seconds in the best possible place and keep moving forward in that sense. So yeah, that's kind of for me is that what's next, and it just brings me back and yeah, presence.
Yeah. So what is next for you? I mean, do you from the start of the year compared to you now having, tasted that incredible success, is it, do you feel like something of a new man? Are you really like just looking forward to the next couple of months off and then next year building it straight back up again?
I think for me, the important thing is I just don't want things to change too much. I think obviously I was incredibly lucky to have the success from what I was doing prior, and I've really enjoyed kind of the time I spent in Loughborough and the winter I spent there. So I'd love to just kind of go through that again with the same people and just make sure things stay the same, because fundamentally I just love what I'm doing and just want to keep that mantra and I don't know, just keep enjoying what I'm doing, and hopefully that will lead to similar things and hopefully lead to me improving and
basically recreate 2021, don't you? That's
yeah, forever. Just keep them coming. I'm just playing.
But yeah, and Paris long way off, but presumably if selection criteria follows suit, you won't have to worry about qualification and so on for that as much. Like, it's kind of, if you're in the position, then you get the slot, and it'd be kind of crazy. I mean, not just thinking about Paris now, but for the next year's World Champs as well, going into a season, as a marked man, it's going to feel kind of different, right?
Yeah, I guess for me, like I still don't see myself as a marked man. Like I still feel like I'm just racing with people that I watched on the telly, like when I was 13, 14 years old. Like it's just bizarre. I still feel like I'm progressing and feel like a child of the sport. I feel like I just enjoy what I'm doing, and yes, I almost stand on the start line as an equal. I feel like I wouldn't say I personally mark anyone differently, or I have incredible respect for everyone, because to get to that point, it's incredibly tough. It takes a lot of investment. It takes a lot of time. So yeah, for me, I don't know. It's just, it's just incredibly weird to think that somebody who, well, I just believe I'm incredibly normal, just somebody who worked hard and just enjoyed what I was doing. For that to be the case is a bit bizarre, but yeah, really cool at the same time.
Yeah. Well, there's, as the under-23 World Champs showed as well, like that fresh talent coming through and the breakthrough season ahead. There's the likes of Ali and Javier kind of officially, as much as you ever do, I suppose, hanging up their boots, and Richard Murray probably now, unfortunately with his injury. And so those start lines are going to start to look a bit different, aren't they, as well? And, inevitably you'll feel like the more experienced member up there pretty soon. But great to talk to you. Thanks ever so much. Congrats again on a great year, and yeah, long may those battles in Leeds and Tokyo and Malibu and Edmonton continue. We look forward to them.
No, thank you very much. Thanks for having me. It's nice to just chat. I don't know. Every time you speak to somebody, it just seems to, I guess, sink in a little bit more. So it's really nice to just talk it through a little bit, I guess. But yeah, no, thank you.
Thanks to Alex for that brilliant run through of an unforgettable year. That is 5 of the 6 Olympic gold medalists from Tokyo 2020 on the pod now. So Jess Learmonth, we're coming for you. Thanks as always for listening, and don't forget you can now email us all your feedback, feelings and future guest requests via podcast@triathlon.org.